What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so the narrative that we're getting from the machine currently is, oh, Donald Trump's mandate, he doesn't have a mandate. That's a fake mandate. He's not popular. His poll numbers are going down. His constituents, the people that voted for Donald Trump, are showing up and actually fighting against this. They don't want Doge. They don't want what Elon Musk is doing, right? This is the narrative we're getting from the machine.
President Trump's self-described mandate is facing brutal reality checks across the country. Republican Nebraska Congressman Mike Flood is the latest to take it on the chin while holding down a town hall in a county that voted for Trump nearly 3-1.
We have the Department of Government Efficiency that is looking at and has some. How can you be against a balanced budget?
He's not the only one. Wyoming's only House member, Harriet Hageman, faced tough questions from her constituents about the scope and pace of Trump's overhauls. Meanwhile, Democratic lawmakers like Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey are taking heat from their constituents.
We are not interested in hearing that you are in the minority. We know that. We want you to show some of the backbone and strategic brilliance that this Republican has. He's not from the minority. The house is on fire. He just asked me about that. He just asked me about that. I'm going to answer his question. I'm going to answer his question. I'm going to answer his question. Like it's business and your fault. It is not business and your fault.
But, you know, me, I look at all this and I find this a bit suspicious, right? Because this should be popular. Why would people, you know, well, the tax the rich thing makes absolutely no sense, and I've broken that down. I can see where some people might think this, but once you think about it for a second, hang on, tax the rich? Why? Why would you want to give your money to the government? Why would you want to force somebody else to give their money to the government? Right? It's not going to go back to you. That's for dang sure. But people don't realize this. In the corporate press, they never explain this. They just say, oh, these rich billionaires, blah, 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 blah. They've got this money and you don't, making you feel bad about your own success. However, giving, taxing the rich and giving the money to the government, it's not going to give it back to you. The government is not Robin Hood. That is a fantasy that the corporate press has given to everybody as if it's real, as if that's going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Why do we know this? Because the government always takes your money and they spend it on nonsense programs. But this whole thing about, oh, it's Republicans that are facing backlash in their own districts from their own constituents. That seems weird. Why would Republicans be against cutting the federal government? Why would anybody, as a matter of fact, be against balancing the budget, like that congressman said? That seems fishy to me. And so you do a little bit of digging, and then you do a little bit of reading between the lines, and Chuck Schumer just absolutely gets out there and spills the beans. He tells on himself. He actually shows that, hang on, this is a coordinated attack on democracy.
We are mobilizing in New York. We have people going to the Republican districts and going after these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences. This is a long, relentless fight that we fight every day. And I am confident that we will bring Trump's popularity, numbers, and strength down if we keep at it and keep at it and keep at it.
Okay, so he pretty much gives the game away right there, spills the beans, if you will. All right, so what are they doing? They're sending activists to these town halls to create a ruckus. And what is this meant to do? This is meant to make you think you're on the wrong side of history. This is so important to Democrats that they're always on the right side of history because they always want to be in the right, because all they care about is how other people view them. Hey, am I a virtuous person? That's all they care about. They don't care about doing the right thing for the right reasons. They don't care about balancing the budget. They just want to make sure that people of the world get money from us. That's what they want to do with taxing the rich. They want to ship that right out to the rest of the world for some reason. They don't care about this country. They don't care about what makes this country move, what has made this country so great. They don't care about none of those things. They care about virtue signaling. And Chuck Schumer right there just gives the game away. This is a coordinated attack funded by Democrats to go to Republican districts, to town hall meetings, to make you think this is all done. All of it is done to turn down the popularity of Donald Trump for doing the right thing for the right reasons. That is an attack on democracy. That is an attack on American values. That is an attack on everything that makes us the country that we are. Makes freedom, because that's not freedom, folks. That is absolutely not freedom. That is narrative building. That is trying to force you into their position, right? And face the consequences if you don't. And we are currently seeing what those consequences are. As a matter of fact, we absolutely are. We're seeing everything that's going on with Tesla and Elon Musk, all the violence, all the chaos, the pandemonium, the damage coming from these far leftists that are actually dulling out the consequences of voting for Donald Trump. Is that a country that we want to live in? We can't let this narrative go. We've got to keep pushing back against this stuff. And it doesn't stop there.
There are those who believe that we are in real time living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional crisis right now?
Yes, our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time. And we hope that the appellate courts, when it gets up there in the Supreme Court, will uphold those rulings. They restored the money to NIH. They required that 8,000 federal employees have to come back. We're in over 100 lawsuits against them, and we are having a good deal of success. It's only at the lower court level right now.
Okay, so once again, he gives the game away. Oh, we've put all these activist judges on the circuit, basically telling you that we put these judges there for the reason of obstructing Donald Trump. He says Donald Trump is breaking the law. Well, is he? He invokes the Alien Enemies Act. Well, that is codified law, as a matter of fact. And what is that for? That's for a predatory invasion of the United States, Tren de Aragua. A lot of conservatives consider the absolute invasion of all these illegal immigrants to be an invasion, to be a predatory invasion, because there's so much criminal activity going across that southern border that it is tantamount to an invasion to us, because Joe Biden opened the floodgates, let all these people come in, and they're committing crimes. They're destroying cities. They're taking up resources. And Joe Biden's government is just giving your tax dollars away. Once again, Robin Hood, if you will, taking your tax dollars and giving it to these criminal aliens, people that's not even supposed to be here. He actually ships people in to give them money. What sense does that make? We consider that an invasion. Now, all of these people that came across the border are obviously not invaders. What Donald Trump is going after, though, with the Alien Enemies Act, is Tren de Aragua, Venezuelan gangs, all these other cartel members, bad people that came into this country, like Laken Riley's murderer, people like that are going around committing crimes. That's who he's going after hardcore. And what are these activist judges doing? Telling Donald Trump to turn the plane around to bring terrorists back into this country. That is one of the most absurd things I think I have ever seen. These judges are not ruling based upon law. They're ruling based upon obstructionism, which obstructionism is political in nature. It is meant for politics to stop whatever Donald Trump is doing, whether it's codified in law or not. Although I can't say much of anything that Donald Trump has done has broken the law. As a matter of fact, it hasn't. You could argue that the birthright citizenship, but once again, that's a debatable point because, birthright citizenship was meant for people that actually come into this country the correct way, that, immigrants to this country that have children here that want to build a life for themselves. That was meant for their children to have automatic citizenship. That was not meant for somebody to cross our border illegally, have a child just for the purposes of anchoring themselves to this country. That's what is being done. That is abuses to the system itself. And that is what Donald Trump is trying to eliminate. And he was very specific in his executive order, which is why I believe that the birthright citizenship executive order is going to win on the merits, because it allows for birthright citizenship through the natural means. In other words, if you come into this country and you're a non-citizen, you're here on a visa, but you're awaiting your citizenship, you have an application out because it takes a while, and you have a child, that child will become an American citizen under Donald Trump's executive order. So he's not eliminating it. He is just refining it to eliminate the abuses of the birthright citizenship clause. I don't see a problem with that. The merits are solid on that. So I believe Donald Trump is going to win. Shutting down the education department, shuttering USAID. He most certainly has the right to do these things. Once this all goes through the court, makes it all the way up to the Supreme Court, I believe Donald Trump is going to be vindicated on almost all of his executive orders, almost all of these injunctions. But it's ridiculous for these judges to obstruct just for the sake of obstruction. They're not actually ruling based upon the law, and that is a problem.
It's going to be months before we open up the government. And we have no way to stop them. There's no exit ramp. It'll be totally up to them when to open up the government. Shutdowns with autocrats, vicious people, nasty people like Musk and Trump and Doge in charge is disaster for us.
Now, I threw that clip in there just to show the blatant hypocrisy there. What sense does that make? Chuck Schumer's trying to blame the government shutdown that was looming on Trump. Like, hang on just a second. It was the GOP that put together the spending bill, and it was Democrats that were opposing it. Why? Because the GOP wants some fiscal responsibility. They want to try to get closer to a balanced budget, which I have my problems with that bill as well. However, what autocrat shuts down his own government? Like, it makes no sense. Oh, you're going to shut down the government, and that's going to give Elon Musk and all these people just a blanket open door to do whatever they want to do. What sense does that make? What are they going to do with a shutdown government? They can't explain that because it doesn't make any sense. These people are so ridiculous, and it always blows my mind that they always come out just obstruction for the sake of obstruction and don't think about the merits of their obstructionism. As a matter of fact, it blows my mind because there is no merit to their obstructionism. They just want to make Donald Trump look bad. And if Donald Trump is doing the right thing for the right reason, that's a tough ask, if you ask me. It just, once again, it blows my mind. And I love to see it from these people because it's blatant hypocrisy. They talk about democracy. They talk about the rule of law while utterly admitting to violating democracy, violating the terms of democracy, right? The will of the people, which Donald Trump got the will of the people. He had the plurality. He won the popular vote. There was a shift of 87% of counties and parishes, because don't forget Louisiana exists, and we have parishes for some reason. We don't have counties. Don't know why that is, but 87% of districts shifted to the right, shifted toward Donald Trump. That is a mandate. When a very, very controversial figure like Donald Trump, who is hated by the left, he's railed against by the corporate media in this country, can win the popular vote. When all the news media is against this guy, and he's still able to win that much popularity. What does that tell you, folks? That is a mandate. When all the chips are stacked against Donald Trump, and he still comes out victorious with a major victory. Wasn't even a small victory. It wasn't a landslide. Donald Trump didn't win, 450 electoral votes. But it was a landslide in the sense that he won all 7 swing states. He shifted to the right toward Donald Trump 87% of the country. That is a mandate, folks. That is a landslide shift for the country itself. I think that gives him the right to do just about anything he wants to do within reason, if you know what I mean. I have my criticisms. Some of the moves Donald Trump is making make absolutely no sense. Like what's going on with his ideas in Gaza. I don't like those too much. I don't like that he's like, oh, TikTok is great now for some reason. Why? Because, I don't know, there's a lot of TikTokers out there praising Donald Trump. Yeah, I think that's a bad thing. I don't like TikTok. It is melting the brains of our young people. It's absolutely doing that, and I don't really care for that all that much. But, these Democrats are exposing themselves over and over and over and over and over again. And it blows my mind that they can't see it. Oh, they're just so deranged with Donald Trump, they can't see the forest for all the trees that are in the way. They're standing in the middle of this thing, looking around like all these trees are blocking my view. That's exactly what we're seeing right now, folks. They don't see that they are the threat to democracy. They are the one obstructing the popular mandate. They are the ones that are opposing the popular views, the popular positions, the popular mandate of this country. And people voted for Donald Trump on the basis that he would come in and that he would gut the federal government. He would gut the bloat and the waste. That he would deport criminal aliens. That he would try to create peace in Europe with Ukraine and Russia. Create peace in the Middle East like he did in his first term. And Democrats are obstructing every single bit of it. And I'm here for it, y'all. I'm here to point out all the blatant hypocrisies. But I think I've rambled on for long enough. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got on this one. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. I would greatly appreciate that. Join the channel. We got memberships over here. Y'all share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. Tell your friends, tell your family. Tell the homeless guy down the street who probably doesn't have access to the internet for some reason these days. Don't know why. Even some homeless people do have cell phones, but hey, who am I to blame anybody for anything, right? Y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got on this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.